Thank you. I call the member for Ryde.
Thank you, Speaker. In recent weeks, we have seen the great absurdity that is pets being allowed on planes, but not on New South Wales trains. And the question of whether pets should be allowed on public transport is an issue that may seem trivial on the surface, but goes to the very heart of whether a government puts people or itself at the centre of public policy. Locally in Ryde, we are one of the better serviced communities when it comes to public transport, in a country with one of the highest rates of pet ownership anywhere in the world. Ryde is on track to exceeding its housing targets by over 300%, a large proportion of these dwellings being high density. Naturally, many of these new occupants choose small indoor pets, namely cats or dogs, as their companions. This is particularly the case among young professionals, singles, and an increasing number of seniors. I was therefore not surprised to this week see Virgin Australia announce their interest in allowing certain pets on domestic flights. This isn't a statement of virtue from Virgin, but rather a reflection of a changing customer base. The same principle applies to how we make policy in this place. Rather than cater to a lazy or convenient status quo, we should be making policy that reflects the changing needs of our society. For the more recalcitrant among us, I offer a solution: a trial. The question of whether pets should be allowed on public transport is not uncharted territory. Indeed, from Berlin to San Francisco, there are policies already in place that allow pets and their owners to coexist beyond the confines of their homes. These jurisdictions have actively embraced pet-friendly public transport policies, which is leading to increased mobility, improved mental health, stronger community ties, and even more relevantly to our current political discourse, an increased degree of inclusivity towards those struggling with the rising cost of living and housing unaffordability. The reality is that transport is a significant cost on the family budget. Public transport is an alternative to private car ownership and certainly drives down car dependence. However, for a population that is so enamoured with our pets, we've scored an incredible own goal by restricting our furry friends from the public transport journey. While you can legally take an assistance animal, non-assistance pets are only permitted on buses, light rail, ferries and taxis with the express permission of the staff or drivers. For trains, they are banned altogether. That's also the case for metros. Now, I don't advocate a free-for-all, but rather a trial, particularly on trains with three very clear conditions. Firstly, we need more regular and reliable peak hour services. Having caught the train to Parliament myself this morning, I was among the many battling for a seat during this morning's peak. These times of day are stressful for the best of us, and no trial should encroach upon that window of time. Peak hours should be exempt, but beyond that, there is enormous opportunity to travel in the company of pets. Secondly, while I may be a lover of animals, I accept that not everybody is as comfortable. All pets travelling on public transport should be tethered or contained, not only for the safety and comfort of other passengers, but also for the protection of the animals themselves. And finally, I note that there are reasonable concerns regarding allergies and people wanting the choice not to travel near an animal. In the case of trains, I believe the most suitable solution is to dedicate certain carriages, as we currently do for silent carriages, as pet-friendly carriages. This would give non-pet travellers the choice to stay away if desired. Now, for those worried about waste, I'd observe that pets generally don't like relieving themselves in uncomfortable or unfamiliar environments. Having said that, owners do need to be responsible. And in the same way, if you graffiti, spill a drink, or rip up a seat, consequences apply for damage caused by pets. But secondly, don't think for a second that humans aren't immune from these behaviours. I've seen some truly dreadful conduct on trains, conduct I won't detail from the dignified dispatch box. Ultimately, as a society, we need to be responsible. And that's why before jumping headfirst into unfettered animal transport liberation, I'd love to establish an evidence base to take our community on a journey as we endeavour to use our public utilities for broader social good, to reflect the values, inclusivity and compassion that I believe defines what it means to live in this great state. I call on this Parliament to initiate the trial, even trial it in Ryde. The worst that can happen is that it fails, in which case we walk away having known rather than living knowing only what if.